So roast potatoes, you've all got your own favourite way of doing them, right? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, so this, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. And you're allowed to disagree, we've covered that bit already. But this is just my current roast potato theory, alright? And it's the same roast potato theory as last week, but it's not the same roast potato theory as 2 years ago. Okay, for example, I used to always say, you don't put salt in the water when you parboil your roast potatoes. You must parboil your roast potatoes, otherwise it's not a roast potato. Okay, it's just that simple. I used to say, don't put the salt in there, it draws the moisture out when you're roasting them, and that makes them soggy. And now I'm like, now get the salt in there, it's nice. I've changed, I've changed, I've evolved. So the first thing I do these days is, I tend to leave the skins on my roast potatoes. And I was tempted to call them a broast potato, because it's kind of a crossover between a baked and a roast potato. And then I thought, don't be so pretentious. So I'm not going to call them that anymore. But I really like the flavour of the skin on the potato, and I like the way it changes the crispiness dynamics. Okay, so I'm going to parboil my spuds, and that really is a little bit of a misnomer, because what you really want to do is have them nearly all boiled, okay? Nice and soft, so that we can get them really crispy. The crispy potato bit happens when the fat that you're using interacts with the opened potato stock. I'm actually going to use some pork dripping. Here it is. Came out of the freezer at home yesterday. Just in a little vacuum pack bag. We miss a trick with our roast potatoes quite often, I think, to start getting a bit of flavour in there early on. So I'm going to put some thyme in there, a couple of fresh bay leaves, and bay's a herb that I've got a lot of time for. And if you haven't got a bay tree, it's quite easy to find one nearby. And you can usually you can steal it without getting into trouble, because quite often they sort of grow over over the pathway. A little bit of salt in that water too, and then a bit of garlic, and we'll get those going. Just chuck it in, get the flavour in there, and that can all go forward and roast with the potatoes as well. So we don't worry about that. Roast potatoes, okay? You want them to take a while to get where they're going. Like all the best things in life. The longer you spend getting there, the better. Except if that's a train cancellation scenario, in which case it's just irritating. But all the best things in life take a little while. And if you start them too hot, then they start to go crispy and they exclude too much of the fat. And the trick with a good roast potato is that most of the fat evaporates in the oven while you're cooking. Thus rendering them completely healthy, which is good. So I'll just give them a little bath in that gentle coating of oily fat and loveliness, like that. Make sure they've all got a shiny. And then we're back to that old thing I was just talking about with the beef, which is leave them alone. Okay? Don't be tempted to go in and try and move them around too much. We want that first coating of fat to just set really nicely. Pop them in there, give them a little shake. Lovely. If I shut this little thing, it keeps the steam in the oven. So if I'm baking bread, or roasting fish, or something where I want to keep a little bit of moisture in there, if I'm slow roasting in the oven, something like that, this helps me to do that. If I'm making roast potatoes, then I absolutely want to get as much moisture out of the oven as possible, because I want the outside to be crispy. The last thing I want is condensation happening inside the oven and stopping the crispiness. I open this little happy flap, the moisture comes out, you can see it coming out of there now. That's not stunt water, that's normal water coming out of the roast potatoes. We've put that in there. If that starts to turn into black smoke and flames, it's probably ready. Nearly. But here we go. These are absolutely lovely now. So we'll pop these on a board, we can hand those round and everyone can have a little go on a couple of those.